The morning sun cast long shadows across the redwoods forest in Rotorua as Prince Harry stepped out of his accommodation, breathing in the crisp New Zealand air. The scent of native timber and geothermal steam created a unique atmosphere that reminded him why he loved visiting this corner of the world. Today marked the second day of his unofficial visit to New Zealand, a personal journey he had planned to reconnect with the places and people that had touched his heart during previous royal tours. Harry adjusted his casual jacket and baseball cap, hoping to blend in with the other tourists exploring the famous Redwoods Tree Walk. His security detail maintained a respectful distance, understanding his desire for a more authentic experience among the local community. The prince had specifically requested this low-key approach, wanting to interact naturally with visitors and locals without the formal protocols that usually surrounded royal appearances. The Redwoods forest buzzed with activity as families from around the world gathered to experience the elevated walkways suspended among the towering California redwoods. Children's laughter echoed through the trees while parents snapped photos of the magnificent canopy stretching endlessly toward the blue sky. Harry smiled as he watched a group of local school children racing ahead of their teachers, their excitement infectious as they pointed out native birds perched high in the branches. As he walked toward the main entrance, Harry noticed the diverse crowd that had gathered for the morning session. Tourists from Japan chatted excitedly in their native language while examining their cameras. A young couple from Germany studied their guidebook, planning their route through the various platforms. Several New Zealand families had arrived early to beat the crowds, their children already wearing the safety harnesses required for the treetop adventure. The registration area bustled with activity as staff members checked tickets and explained safety procedures to eager visitors. Harry approached the counter quietly, his security team having prearranged his participation to ensure minimal disruption to other guests. The staff member, a cheerful Maori woman named Aroha, recognized him immediately, but maintained professional composure while processing his booking. "Welcome to the Redwoods, Your Royal Highness," she said warmly but quietly. "We're honored to have you experience our beautiful forest today. The weather conditions are perfect for the walkway." Harry appreciated her natural approach. "Please, just call me Harry. I'm here to enjoy this amazing place like everyone else. I've heard incredible things about what you've created here." The elevated walkway system stretched for over half a mile through the forest, with platforms positioned at various heights to provide different perspectives of the woodland ecosystem. Harry joined a mixed group of visitors for the guided tour, listening intently as their Maori guide, Tane, shared stories about the forest's history and cultural significance to local iwi. These trees were planted in the 1900s as part of exotic forestry trials, Tane explained as the group moved on to the first platform. Today, they provide a unique environment where visitors can experience the forest canopy while learning about our traditional relationship with the natural world. Harry found himself walking alongside an elderly couple from England who were celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary with a trip to New Zealand. Margaret and Robert Thompson had saved for years to make this journey, and their enthusiasm for every aspect of their adventure touched Harry's heart. He listened as they shared stories of their grandchildren back home and their amazement at New Zealand's natural beauty. "We never imagined we'd be walking through treetops at our age," Margaret laughed, gripping the handrail as they crossed between platforms. "Our granddaughter Emma insisted we had to do this. She said it would be the adventure of a lifetime." The group progressed through the walkway system, stopping at various platforms where Tane pointed out native birds and explained the forest ecosystem. Harry asked thoughtful questions about conservation efforts and the balance between tourism and environmental protection, genuinely interested in understanding the challenges facing this unique attraction. As they reached the highest platform, offering panoramic views across Rotorua and Lake Rotorua in the distance, Harry noticed the careful attention staff paid to visitor safety. The walkway system had been engineered to accommodate people of all ages and mobility levels, with secure barriers and regular safety checks ensuring everyone could enjoy the experience confidently. The morning progressed peacefully as groups rotated through different sections of the walkway. Harry found himself genuinely relaxed, enjoying conversations with fellow visitors who gradually recognized him, but respected his obvious desire for a normal tourist experience. Word spread quietly through the crowd, but people maintained appropriate distance while occasionally asking for photos, which he graciously accommodated. During a rest stop at the central platform, Harry chatted with a local family whose children attended a nearby primary school. The parents, Sarah and Mike Chun, had brought their two daughters for a school holiday treat. 8-year-old Lucy Chun peppered Harry with questions about life in England, while her younger sister Amy, age 4, remained shyly hidden behind her mother's legs. "Do you really live in a castle?" Lucy asked with wide eyes, her curiosity overcoming any sense of formality. Harry laughed genuinely. "Not exactly a castle like in fairy tales, but I do live in some pretty old buildings. Nothing as beautiful as this forest, though. You're very lucky to have this in your backyard." The conversation flowed naturally as Harry learned about the family connection to the area. Sarah worked as a nurse at Rotorua Hospital, while Mike managed a local adventure tourism business. They had moved to Rotorua from Auckland 5 years earlier, drawn by the community atmosphere and outdoor lifestyle the region offered their growing family. As the group prepared to continue their journey through the remaining platforms, Harry noticed the careful choreography required to manage the steady flow of visitors while maintaining the peaceful atmosphere that made the experience special. Staff members communicated through discreet radio systems, ensuring groups moved smoothly without feeling rushed or crowded. The walkway curved through a particularly dense section of the forest where the canopy created a natural cathedral effect. Sunlight filtered through the leaves in shifting patterns that danced across the wooden platforms. Harry paused to photograph the scene, struck by the natural artistry that surrounded them. Other visitors moved quietly past, each absorbed in their own experience of the magical environment. Tane shared traditional Maori stories about the forest's spiritual significance as they walked. Harry listened respectfully, understanding the deep cultural connections that made this place meaningful beyond its tourist appeal. The guide's knowledge extended far beyond botanical facts, encompassing generations of indigenous wisdom about living in harmony with a natural environment. As the morning tour neared its conclusion, Harry felt genuinely refreshed by the experience. The combination of natural beauty, cultural education, and genuine human connections had provided exactly the kind of meaningful encounter he had hoped to find during his visit. The relaxed atmosphere had allowed him to interact naturally with people from various backgrounds, sharing their excitement and wonder at the forest's majesty. The group gathered on the final platform for concluding remarks from their guide. Tane thanked everyone for their respectful participation and encouraged them to explore other attractions in the Rotorua region. Harry exchanged contact information with several families, promising to stay in touch and learn more about their lives in this remarkable part of New Zealand. As visitors began making their way back toward the main entrance, Harry lingered on the platform, savoring the peaceful moment. The morning had exceeded his expectations, providing both personal renewal and genuine connections with people who shared his appreciation for natural beauty and cultural heritage. He felt grateful for the opportunity to experience this place without the formal constraints that often accompanied his public appearances. The security team signaled discreetly that it was time to move toward their next destination, but Harry took one final moment to appreciate the forest canopy stretching endlessly in all directions. This experience would remain with him long after returning home, a reminder of the simple pleasures that could be found when approaching new places with openness and genuine curiosity about the people and cultures encountered along the way. After completing the Redwoods Tree Walk experience, Prince Harry decided to explore the surrounding area on foot rather than immediately departing for his next scheduled activity. The forest grounds offered several walking trails that wound through native bush, providing opportunities to observe local wildlife and enjoy the peaceful atmosphere away from the elevated walkways where tour groups continued their adventures throughout the day. Harry chose a moderate trail that led toward a small lake nestled within the forest boundaries. His security detail adapted to this spontaneous decision, maintaining their protective presence while allowing him the freedom to explore at his own pace. The path meandered through a mix of exotic redwoods and native New Zealand vegetation, creating a unique ecosystem that attracted both tourists and local wildlife. As he walked along the well-maintained gravel path, Harry encountered other visitors who had chosen to extend their forest experience beyond the main attraction. A group of photography enthusiasts had set up equipment to capture the interplay of light filtering through the diverse canopy. Their patient focus and technical expertise reminded Harry of his own interest in photography, particularly his work documenting conservation efforts around the world. The trail opened into a clearing where families often stopped for picnic lunches and children could play safely while parents relaxed on wooden benches positioned to take advantage of scenic views. Harry noticed the thoughtful design of this recreational area, which balanced accessibility with environmental sensitivity. Native plants had been preserved and enhanced to create natural play areas that encouraged children to explore while learning about local ecology. Several families had spread blankets on the grass, enjoying the mild weather and peaceful surroundings. Harry observed the diverse mix of visitors, from local families treating this as their neighborhood park to international tourists incorporating the forest visit into broader New Zealand adventures. The relaxed atmosphere encouraged natural interactions between different groups, creating a sense of community among strangers sharing the same beautiful space. Near the lake's edge, Harry discovered a small interpretive center staffed by local volunteers who provided information about the forest's history and ongoing conservation efforts. Eleanor Wright, a retired teacher who had lived in Rotorua for 40 years, enthusiastically explained the transformation of this area from working forestry land into a major tourist attraction that now employed hundreds of local residents. When I first moved here, this was just plantation forestry, Eleanor explained, gesturing toward the towering trees. No one could have imagined it would become such a wonderful place for families to experience nature together. The economic benefits have been tremendous for our community, but we've never lost sight of environmental responsibility. Harry engaged deeply with Eleanor's explanations, asking detailed questions about the balance between tourism development and environmental protection. Her insights into community consultation processes and indigenous partnership models provided valuable perspective on sustainable tourism practices that could be applied in other contexts around the world. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a distressed woman who approached the interpretive center in obvious panic. Maria Gonzalez, a visitor from Spain traveling with her extended family, spoke rapidly in broken English while gesturing frantically toward different areas of the forest grounds. "My little boy, my Mateo, he is missing," she exclaimed, tears streaming down her face. One moment he was playing with his cousins, then nothing. "We cannot find him anywhere." Eleanor immediately activated the forest's emergency protocols, while Harry instinctively stepped forward to offer assistance. His training and natural inclination toward helping others in crisis situations took precedence over any considerations about maintaining a low profile during his visit. "When did you last see him?" Harry asked gently, his calm presence helping to reduce Maria's panic level. "Can you tell me exactly where you were when he disappeared?" Maria explained through her distress that her family had been enjoying a picnic lunch near the lake when her 3-year-old son Mateo had wandered away from their group. The extended family included several adults and children ranging in age from toddlers to teenagers, making it difficult to maintain constant supervision of every child simultaneously. "We were watching the ducks in the lake," Maria continued, her English improving as she focused on providing crucial details. "Mateo loves animals. He was so excited about the ducks. Then my sister asked me something, and when I looked back, he was gone." Harry assessed the situation quickly, drawing on his military training and experience with crisis management. The forest grounds covered a significant area with multiple trails, water features, and potential hiding spots where a curious toddler could easily become lost or trapped. Time was critical in ensuring Mateo's safe recovery before he wandered too far or encountered any dangers. Eleanor coordinated with forest staff through her radio system while Harry organized the family members into systematic search teams. His natural leadership skills and ability to remain calm under pressure helped transform panic into organized action. He assigned specific search areas to different family members while ensuring someone remained at the interpretive center in case Mateo found his way back to the last known location. Carlos and Elena, you take the main trail toward the car park, Harry directed Maria's relatives. Anna and Roberto, check around the playground area where children often go. Maria, you come with me to search near the lake where he was last seen. The forest staff responded immediately to the emergency alert, implementing protocols designed for exactly this type of situation. Within minutes, additional personnel had been dispatched to key locations throughout the grounds while the main entrance staff were alerted to watch for a small boy matching Mateo's description. Harry accompanied Maria along the lake's perimeter, looking for any signs of the missing toddler while offering reassurance based on his understanding of similar situations. His experience visiting communities around the world had exposed him to various emergency scenarios, and he understood the importance of maintaining hope while conducting thorough searches. Tell me about Mateo, Harry suggested as they searched through bushes and checked behind trees near the water's edge. What does he like to do? Or might he think is interesting? Maria described her son's curious nature and particular fascination with animals and mechanical objects. This information helped Harry focus their search on areas likely to attract a 3-year-old attention, such as a small wooden bridge crossing a stream or a maintenance shed where groundskeeping equipment was stored. As they searched, other visitors became aware of the situation and spontaneously joined the effort. The photography group Harry had encountered earlier offered to use their telephoto lenses to scan distant areas of the forest. A family from Australia who had been picnicking nearby organized their older children to help check obvious hiding spots like playground equipment and picnic shelters. The collaborative response demonstrated the sense of community that often emerged in crisis situations, with strangers united by shared concern for a missing child's safety. Harry observed how quickly people set aside their own activities to assist a family in distress, reflecting the fundamental human impulse to protect vulnerable members of any community. 20 minutes into the search, one of the forest staff members radioed that they had checked the main trails without finding any trace of Mateo. This information increased urgency while also narrowing the potential search area to locations closer to the lake where the family had been picnicking. Harry suggested expanding the search to include areas that might not be immediately obvious to adults, but could attract a curious toddler's attention. His approach combined systematic coverage of probable locations with creative thinking about how a small child might perceive and navigate the environment differently than older family members expected. Sometimes children follow interesting sounds or movement, he explained to Maria as they approached a section of the forest where a small waterfall created both visual and auditory attraction. They don't think about distance the way adults do. The sound of rushing water grew louder as they approached the waterfall area, which featured a series of small pools connected by rocky channels. Harry noted that while the water was shallow, the combination of slippery rocks and a 3-year-old's limited coordination could create dangerous situations requiring immediate intervention. As they rounded a bend in the trail, Harry spotted movement near the base of the waterfall where large boulders created natural hiding places. His heart rate increased as he realized they might have located Mateo, but he maintained calm behavior to avoid startling the child if their search had indeed been successful. Maria, I think I see something, he said quietly, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Let's approach slowly so we don't frighten him if it's Mateo. The tension of the search had built steadily over the past 30 minutes, transforming a peaceful forest visit into an urgent rescue mission. Harry felt the weight of responsibility for helping reunite this family, while managing the complex emotions and logistics involved in coordinating multiple search teams across unfamiliar terrain. Prince Harry moved carefully toward the cluster of large boulders near the waterfall, gesturing for Maria to follow at a distance that wouldn't alarm a potentially frightened child. The sound of rushing water had initially masked any sounds coming from behind the rocks, but as they drew closer, Harry could distinctly hear a small voice singing what sounded like a Spanish nursery rhyme. Mateo, Maria called out softly, her voice filled with relief and barely controlled emotion. Mija, where are you? A small head appeared from behind one of the larger boulders, revealing a dark-haired toddler who looked exactly like the description Maria had provided. 3-year-old Mateo Gonzalez sat contentedly in a small hollow between the rocks, completely absorbed in watching water bugs skimming across a shallow pool that had formed naturally in the rock formation. The little boy looked up at the approaching adults with curiosity rather than fear, apparently unaware that his brief adventure had caused such distress for his family. His clothes were slightly damp from the spray of the waterfall, and his hands were muddy from exploring the rocky terrain, but he appeared completely unharmed by his independent exploration of the forest environment. "Mama!" Mateo exclaimed with delight, scrambling to his feet and rushing toward Maria with the unsteady gait typical of toddlers navigating uneven ground. "Look, water bugs! They dance on the water like magic!" Harry watched as Maria swept her son into her arms, tears of relief streaming down her face as she held him tightly against her chest. The emotional intensity of the reunion reminded him of similar moments he had witnessed during his military service and charitable work, when families were reunited after periods of uncertainty and fear. "Mateo, you cannot run away like that," Maria said in Spanish, switching between English and her native language as she tried to convey both relief and the importance of staying close to family in unfamiliar places. "We were so scared. You must always tell Mama where you are going." Harry approached slowly, not wanting to intrude on the private family moment, but remaining close enough to assist if needed. He noticed that Mateo showed no signs of distress from his adventure, suggesting that he had simply followed his curiosity without understanding the concern his absence would cause. "He seems like quite the little explorer," Harry observed with a warm smile, crouching down to Mateo's eye level. "Those water bugs must have been very interesting to watch." Mateo nodded enthusiastically, apparently delighted to have someone acknowledge his discovery. "They have magic feet," he declared in accented English, holding up his small hands to demonstrate how the insects moved across the water surface. "No sinking." Maria laughed through her tears, recognizing her son's typical fascination with any new phenomenon he encountered. She explained to Harry that Mateo had an insatiable curiosity about animals and natural processes, often becoming so absorbed in observation that he lost awareness of his surroundings. Harry radioed the interpretive center to report that Mateo had been found safe, triggering a chain of communications that would recall all search teams and notify forest staff that the emergency had been resolved successfully. Within minutes, the coordinated search effort that had mobilized dozens of people was standing down, allowing normal forest activities to resume. As they began walking back toward the main area where Mateo's extended family was waiting, Harry engaged the little boy in conversation about his adventure. His natural ease with children, developed through years of charitable work and family interactions, helped maintain Mateo's positive mood while gently reinforcing the importance of staying close to family members. "Tell me about the water bugs," Harry encouraged as they walked along the trail. "What else did you see while you were exploring?" Mateo chattered excitedly about various discoveries he had made during his brief solo adventure, including interesting rocks, unusual sounds, and small birds that had landed near his hiding spot. His detailed observations revealed a sharp intelligence and natural curiosity that suggested great potential for future learning and exploration in safer, supervised contexts. The reunion with the extended Gonzalez family created a scene of emotional celebration as relatives who had been searching different areas of the forest converged on the interpretive center. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins all wanted to hold Mateo and reassure themselves that he was truly safe and unharmed. Carlos Gonzalez, Mateo's father, approached Harry with profound gratitude evident in his expression and body language. As a construction worker from Madrid who spoke limited English, he struggled to find adequate words to express his appreciation for the prince's immediate assistance during the family crisis. "Thank you. Thank you so much," Carlos repeated, grasping Harry's hand firmly while gesturing toward his son. "You helped bring our boy home. We will never forget your kindness." Harry deflected the gratitude graciously, emphasizing that the successful outcome had resulted from the combined efforts of forest staff, other visitors, and the family's own organized search activities. His natural humility prevented him from accepting sole credit for what had been a truly collaborative community response to a child in potential danger. Eleanor Wright, the volunteer who had first coordinated the emergency response, expressed amazement at how quickly the situation had been resolved through effective teamwork and systematic search procedures. She noted that having someone with Harry's natural leadership skills had helped transform initial panic into organized action that maximized the chances of a positive outcome. In my 40 years here, I've seen a few situations like this, Eleanor observed. The difference was having someone who knew how to take charge and keep everyone focused on the solution rather than the problem. The Gonzalez family's vacation plans had been completely disrupted by the morning's events, but their relief at Mateo's safe recovery overshadowed any concerns about lost time or missed activities. They gathered around picnic tables near the interpretive center to decompress from the emotional intensity of the past hour, while ensuring that Mateo remained safely within sight of multiple family members. Harry accepted an invitation to join the family for lunch, recognizing that his continued presence provided reassurance, while allowing him to learn more about their experiences as international visitors to New Zealand. The conversation revealed that this was their first trip outside Europe, a special celebration of Carlos and Maria's 10th wedding anniversary that had been planned for over 2 years. "We saved money for a long time to bring whole family," Maria explained, gesturing toward the 3 generations gathered around the picnic area. New Zealand was dream destination. "We want Mateo and his cousins to see beautiful places, learn about different cultures." The family's commitment to travel as an educational experience for their children impressed Harry, who understood the financial sacrifice required for working families to undertake international adventures. Their appreciation for New Zealand's natural beauty and cultural heritage reflected values he shared regarding the importance of exposing young people to diverse environments and perspectives. As lunch progressed, Harry learned more about the family's background and their connections to each other. The group included Maria's parents, her sister's family, and Carlos's brother with his wife and children, representing a true extended family adventure that had required extensive coordination and planning to arrange time off work and travel logistics for 12 people. The children in the group, ranging from 3 to 15 years old, gradually overcame their initial shyness around Harry and began asking questions about England and his experiences traveling around the world. He found himself describing various countries and cultures he had encountered, emphasizing the common threads of family devotion and curiosity about the wider world that transcended national boundaries. Young cousin Isabella, age 8, was particularly fascinated by Harry's descriptions of African wildlife conservation projects. Her intelligent questions about animal protection efforts revealed a budding interest in environmental science that reminded Harry of his own childhood fascination with nature and conservation issues. "Do the elephants really remember human friends?" Isabella asked seriously, having listened intently to Harry's stories about long-term relationships between conservationists and individual elephants they had worked to protect. Harry smiled at the thoughtful question, recognizing the kind of deep thinking about human-animal relationships that often led to lifelong commitments to conservation work. "They absolutely do remember," he confirmed. "Elephants have incredible memories and form lasting bonds with people who treat them with respect and kindness." The afternoon conversation continued to flow naturally as the family shared stories about their lives in Madrid and their impressions of New Zealand during the first week of their vacation. Their genuine warmth and curiosity created an atmosphere that Harry found deeply refreshing compared to many formal interactions he experienced during official royal duties. As the afternoon progressed at the Redwoods Forest, Prince Harry found himself genuinely enjoying the extended time with the Gonzalez family. Their warmth and authentic gratitude created a natural atmosphere that reminded him why he valued direct human connections over formal royal protocols. The crisis that had brought them together had evolved into a meaningful cultural exchange that enriched everyone's understanding of different backgrounds and shared values. Mateo had appointed himself as Harry's personal tour guide, insisting on showing him various discoveries around the picnic area while maintaining careful supervision from his relieved parents. The 3-year-old's boundless energy and curiosity provided entertainment for the entire extended family as he demonstrated his newfound knowledge about water bugs, interesting rocks, and bird calls he had learned to identify. "Prince Harry, come see," Mateo called out excitedly, tugging on Harry's jacket sleeve while pointing toward a nearby tree where a native New Zealand tuatha bird had landed. The bird has white feathers on his neck, like a fancy shirt. Harry followed Mateo's enthusiastic guidance, impressed by the child's detailed observations and natural ability to spot wildlife that many adults overlooked. The tuatha's distinctive white throat feathers and melodic call provided an excellent opportunity for impromptu nature education that engaged not only Mateo, but also his older cousins who gathered around to observe the bird's behavior. In Maori culture, the tuatha is considered a very special bird, Harry explained to the children, drawing on knowledge he had gained from earlier conversations with local guides. They believe it connects the physical world with the spiritual world through its beautiful songs. The teenage members of the family had initially been somewhat overwhelmed by finding themselves sharing lunch with a member of the British royal family. But Harry's natural ease with young people gradually helped them overcome their nervousness. 15-year-old Diego eventually worked up courage to ask about Harry's military service and his current work with veterans organizations. "My grandfather fought in a war when he was young," Diego shared quietly. "He doesn't talk about it much, but sometimes I see him looking sad when he watches old movies about soldiers." Harry recognized the universal experience of families dealing with the long-term impacts of military service and trauma. He spoke thoughtfully about the importance of supporting veterans and their families while acknowledging that each person's experience of military service was unique and deserving of respect regardless of the specific conflicts or circumstances involved. The conversation provided an opportunity for Carlos's father, Antonio, to share some of his own military experiences during Spain's transition to democracy in the 1970s. The elderly man's perspective on social change and the importance of peaceful conflict resolution resonated with Harry's own understanding of the military's role in protecting democratic institutions and human rights. "Sometimes young men go to war thinking it will make them heroes," Antonio observed in careful English, his weathered hands gesturing expressively. "But real heroes are those who work to prevent wars and help people live together in peace." As the afternoon wore on, Harry realized that his spontaneous decision to extend his forest visit had provided exactly the kind of meaningful encounter he had hoped to find during his personal time in New Zealand. The combination of natural beauty, genuine human connection, and cross-cultural learning had created memories that would remain with him long after returning to his official duties. The family's planned departure time approached as they needed to return to their accommodation and prepare for the next phase of their New Zealand adventure. They were scheduled to visit a traditional Maori cultural performance that evening, followed by a geothermal park exploration the following day. Their carefully planned itinerary reflected months of research and coordination to maximize their family's educational and recreational experiences. Maria presented Harry with a small wooden cross that had been blessed at their local church in Madrid before their departure. "This is for protection during your travels," she explained with sincere emotion. "Our family wants you to carry something from our hearts to remember this day." The simple gift touched Harry deeply, representing the kind of authentic human gesture that transcended formal protocols and cultural boundaries. He accepted the cross with genuine gratitude, while explaining that he would treasure it as a reminder of their unexpected friendship and the importance of community support during challenging moments. "Today showed me something very important about kindness between strangers," Harry reflected as the family began gathering their belongings. "When someone needs help, people respond from their hearts without thinking about differences in background or culture. That's the best of human nature." The extended farewell process involved photographs with various family members, exchange of contact information, and promises to stay in touch as the children continued their education and the adults pursued their respective careers. Harry encouraged the younger family members to remain curious about the world while maintaining strong connections to their Spanish heritage and family traditions. Eleanor Wright, who had observed the entire afternoon's interactions, commented on the positive impact that genuine leadership could have in transforming crisis situations into opportunities for human connection and learning. Her perspective as a longtime community volunteer provided insight into the ripple effects that occur when people respond to challenges with compassion and practical action. This is what makes our community special, Eleanor noted as she prepared to close the interpretive center for the day. Visitors come here expecting to see beautiful trees, but they often discover something more valuable about human kindness and cooperation. As the Gonzalez family finally departed for their accommodation, Harry reflected on the unexpected direction his day had taken. What began as a peaceful forest walk had evolved into a rescue mission, cultural exchange, and profound reminder of the connections that unite people across national and cultural boundaries when they approach each other with openness and mutual respect. The forest gradually returned to its normal peaceful atmosphere as late afternoon visitors enjoyed the remaining hours of daylight for their own explorations and discoveries. Harry took a few minutes to walk alone through the area where they had found Mateo, thinking about the combination of circumstances that had led to such a positive outcome from a potentially dangerous situation. His security detail, who had maintained discreet observation throughout the entire afternoon, approached to discuss departure arrangements for the evening. They had adapted professionally to the spontaneous extension of the forest visit, while ensuring that Harry's safety remained secure despite the unplanned interactions with multiple families and forest staff. "Ready to head back, sir?" his lead protection officer inquired respectfully, understanding that Harry often needed time to process meaningful encounters before transitioning back to official duties. Harry took one final look around the forest clearing where the afternoon's events had unfolded, storing mental images of the peaceful setting that had witnessed both crisis and celebration. The experience had reinforced his belief in the importance of remaining open to unexpected opportunities for human connection, regardless of how carefully his schedule might be planned. "Yes, I think it's time," he replied, beginning to walk toward the car park while mentally preparing for the evening's official engagements. "But I want to follow up on something when we get back. I'd like to see if we can arrange for that family to receive some additional information about conservation projects here in New Zealand." Their children showed real interest in environmental protection. The drive back to his accommodation provided time for Harry to reflect on the day's lessons about crisis response, community cooperation, and the universal nature of family bonds that transcend cultural differences. The morning's peaceful forest walk had evolved into something far more significant than he had anticipated when he first decided to visit the Redwoods attraction. As evening approached over Rotorua, Harry felt grateful for the reminder that some of life's most meaningful encounters could not be scheduled or planned. Sometimes the most important moments emerge from willingness to step forward and help when others face challenges, trusting that human kindness would create positive outcomes even in unfamiliar circumstances. The memory of little Mateo's excitement about dancing water bugs and his family's profound gratitude would remain with Harry as a perfect example of how genuine human connections could develop when people approached each other with openness, compassion, and respect for the common bonds that unite all families seeking to create positive experiences and lasting memories together.